morning. I'm between you and the coffee. You have been, and the party have been between you and me. Thank you, Jürgen, for raising the bar today. So I'm very happy to be here with you, in front of you, and I wish having a coffee with you later. So I will speak about Lean Startup, but I like also to speak about other kind of challenges, pain we have every day when we do digital something, and you will see why I mean digital something. Globalization has been a big word, buzzword for many years, but today's technologies change it, and it changed how and what we know about globalization. In your companies, in my companies, in different kind of business organization, the work we do, how we execute it, change. It's not the same globalization we knew before. It's not so much about the digital strategy we have to execute. Management are asking, you have to be digital. It doesn't work. It's more about how we execute it, how you do the job at the end to be digital. If you go back and read papers from McKinsey, BCG, and that kind of guys, they analyzed something like 500 companies last year, and they say all of the companies have been successful to deploy digital strategies, work on 2 dimensions. They design products and services that are directly embedded within the digital technologies. It's not digital on top of. Product services part of digital. And they do use new kind of digital channels to interact, not to work, to interact with the customers and the end users. All of them agree to say they would fail if they don't work with the people. Digitizing your company is not so much about the strategy. It's about who in your company will do the job, how you will execute your digital strategy. They like to speak about hiring your next digital expert. I hate that, hiring the next expert. I like to speak about raising in your company your next digital heroes. Your guys you have in your company, the guys knowing your business, they know the legacy, they know the processes, how to make them the next hero to make you successful, to make your customer successful. During the next half an hour, maybe less, maybe more, depending on the questions, I'd like to show you some kind of best practices where I failed, what I learned, what I like to use on a daily basis when I work Cisco and even before Cisco. I born 1979. I'm around 40. Somebody around the room being around 40? Okay, I don't feel alone. And yeah. You feel like 40, that's the most important. I don't know who I am. I don't know if I'm a digital native or a digital immigrant. If you read some books, if you listen to the speakers, they will tell me, you are a digital native. I don't think so. Or if you are 45, you are a digital immigrant. I don't think either. I took some polls, some surveys on websites by working on my presentation. I say, I need to learn if I'm a digital native or a digital immigrant. And all of the polls, all the surveys gave me a score of 70. Even worse. 70 mean I'm not really a digital immigrant. I'm not a digital native. Why? Because when I do interact with my VPs, the senior guys of the company, they do say, you are a very arrogant digital bastard. You try to change everything in the company. You try to work cross silos. But when I work with the new guys I do hire, or when I go back home and I interact with my kids, they do say, you are just an old dinosaur. You don't know anything about digital. So I don't know who I am. But during the last 20 years, because I'm almost 40, I got a chance to work cross IT and cross business. And if I would draw one conclusion about that, I would say, I'm just in between. My brain is in between. I worked many years in IT, solution support, FPGA design, moved back to finance, moved back to solution support, moved back to sales, do product management. Every single day, I feel like I'm in between. That's really annoying. Really, really annoying. And then I will ask you a question. When you go for the party, when you go for a dinner, you meet the friends, and they ask you, what's your job? You are an IT guy, what's your job? What do you say? If you ask my wife, she will tell you, you are an email guy. All the night, all the days, 70 days a week, 360 days a year, you read emails. You do nothing. And then you meet your friends, and they say, oh, you are in IT. Could you fix my mouse? my Windows is broken. Could you work on the next release? And then I feel very bad. And I say, you know, I don't know so much, but I know somebody for you. I will give you the email. And then they look at me and they say, you have been 3 times at university and you could not fix my Windows? Are you kidding me? Looks like you have the same feeling sometimes. I told you, I work cross IT, cross business, meaning I am in between, meaning I work with sales and I work with IT guys. And when I go to my IT guys, I am the bastard trying to make business. I am the guy trying to have cash on the bank account. They believe I'm the guy to sell anything to the customers just to make my bonus. And I don't know anything about IT and I don't care about them. You have the feeling? You know that, guys? And then I go to my sales guys. And I say, I'm an IT guy. Say, you are the dark force of the company. I hate you. I don't trust you. You are not my son. What actually I think I do? I work Cisco. I work in the technical services organization of Cisco, post-sales technical support. I don't fix issue. I try to help the customers to have the best business availability and the best business continuity when they buy Cisco equipment and solution. My objective is to help the customer. My objective is not to achieve a MTTR or MTFR. We spoke about that yesterday, about ITIL, about the certificates. I think we all agree about that. But it's not so much about what we fixed. It's about how we fix it. If you call the support and if you have to escalate 10 times, if you need to ask 10 days, if you have to go to the first line, the second line, the duty manager, whatever, at the end of the process, you get the answer. Are you satisfied? You are not. You are not. It's not effortless. The next time you will have to buy a contract, you will say, let me think about it. Maybe it's too expensive. I want the customer to be loyal. And many studies from McKinsey again and others show that to fix an issue is not enough anymore. You need to be effortless. You need to be proactive even. And then they will remain loyal to you. They will come back and they will buy again. What do I do in Cisco? I work on the next phase of our services organization. We have been reactive for 20 years, like all of us. We are firefighters. We have an issue, we get called, we send a SWAT team, maybe we try to fix, or we just reboot, and we say we fixed. And where we try to go, where we have to go, where the customers ask us to go. They want to be effortless, they want to have a new kind of experience, so we have to be proactive. Sending the firefighter when we feel that some smokes could be in the house, but the house is not yet burning. So we work since a few years about moving from reactive to proactive, from proactive to predictive. Predictive being, you have the solution A, I have seen the bug B, and you have such kind of business question C. All in all, if I combine the 3 kind of contexts, you could have an issue in a few weeks. And then the last but not least, we try to proactively fix it. It's not about calling the customer to fix it. It's about calling the customer and to say, did you sleep well? Because last week I fixed it for you. How we do that? By combining digital IC. So we ask our support engineers to digitize when they work with customer. We design a kind of app store in the company, and every time we work with critical customers, we script how we troubleshoot for the customer. And everywhere in the world, we give the capacity to the next engineer to reuse the script to work on the issue on another customer. And now we like to use that kind of big iTunes store, app store, to be proactive, to proactively analyze the network of the customers, the device, and to proactively avoid the next fire in the company on the network. It's not IC only, it's human. Just using digitized IC will not work. We would fail. We tried, we failed. The best feedback and pilot we have deployed so far is where we combine digitized IC and human guy. It's not a Robocop, it's not a machine, it's Iron Man. You give the capacity to human to do better. Then, if I would explain, and the people during a party would still listen to me after 1 hour when I try to explain what I do at Cisco, they would say, you do digital transformation. I hate that. I hate people telling me I do digital transformation. I don't transform existing processes. I create new one. If you take your business, if you take what you do, you just deploy on e-commerce, you just deploy a kind of new channel, you are not digital. You feel digital. You smell digital. You are not digital. You are just making a kind of new process to be more efficient. But you don't achieve and you don't get new business revenue. So if you have an IT strategy, I'm sorry to say, you don't have a digital strategy. You work on your backend. You work on your database. You deploy the new mobile feature. Very good. We need it, don't make me wrong. But you are not digital. You are not trying to achieve new business revenue. Just try to work on the bottom line. If you go for such kind of activity, you will be deploying a digital substitution. You feel digital, you lack digital, you are not digital. You are just a copy of the physical asset. HBR, Harvard, published a paper a few weeks ago, and they speak about digital edge strategy. Meaning you have to combine digital stuff and human resources. You have to combine data, processes, tools, whatever, and human. And only there, by combining all of them, you will start moving to the digital journey. Then again, the question is, how do we do that? What do I need in my company to start working on my digital strategy? Digital edge and not digital substitution. McKinsey designed a pretty interesting framework named Digital Quotient, and they do say, they analyze that successful companies work on 4 main categories of skills. You have to rethink your core strategy. It's not about having an e-commerce website, it's about trying to target new customers. Then you have to work on the culture, change management, we spoke about that. Organization, new guys, new skills, new function, new KPIs. MTTR is gone. What else should I use from an IT point of view? Last but not least, and it's where I put IT and they put IT only. So IT is under capabilities and capabilities is under digital. So if you work on your database and on the backend, you are level 2. You have to work across the silos if you like to go for digital edge strategy. And then some guys will say, fantastic, I got it. I know what to do. I will have my subject matter experts work on the strategy. Some of them will work on the culture, some of them will work on organization, and then some of them will work on IT and capabilities. Will you be digital? No. If you like to be the next digital hero, you have to rise the guys in your company working cross silos. You need to find the guys, to train the guys working on strategy, culture, organization, and IT at the same time. If you find some of them, please give me a call because I would like to talk to them. It's not easy to find, but it's where you have to go. You need to find the capabilities, the training program, the hiring mechanism with HR to go that direction. People having the skills to work cross IT, cross strategy, cross business, cross whatever. I'd like to show you 5 topics, framework, models I use, Cisco. I don't use anymore for some reason, but I learned some things from them. I'd like to show you what's the concept and how we deploy it inside Cisco. Number 1, always number 1, I've seen so much guys deploying the best feature ever, the best new platform, the best new tool. They spent a year, 2 years to get it. They come back to you, they deploy, nobody is using it. Then you ask, why? Why did you deploy the website? Why did you deploy the new process? They could not explain to you. 99% of the time when we fail about developing a new digital stuff is because the people design something without knowing what they try to achieve, what they try to fix. Step number one, it's painful, but it's step number one, what's the problem? What do you try to fix? What's the pain? The pain for which customer? Not the pain for you. Not the pain for you because you like to deploy a new kind of cool feature. What's the pain of the customer who will pay you? And then what is your unique value proposition? That concept is coming from Ash Murray. It's named Lean Canvas. Do you know it? Do you use it sometimes to times? So it's coming from a mix between lean startup and business model generation. We work with Ash in Cisco. And what we do with Ash, we use Ash to train us. It's not about to force and to apply Lean Canvas everywhere, but we ask that guys to come in the company everywhere in the world, and all the guys working on digital evolution have been trained about Lean Canvas methodology, wording, and how to use it. And every time somebody like to push a feature in the innovation funnel, we need to use the canvas to justify why and where we like to go with the concept. It's used like the step number one to say, I have an idea. And your idea should be a specific problem you try to fix for a specific customer with a very specific, unique proposition. I told you about the funnel. A year ago, we designed a kind of funnel between technical services, IT, and sales and product management. All of us, we agreed to work together about the next idea we'd like to push on the market. And since day one, when you have a concept, you have to fly, so you do the Lean Canvas, and you have to fly to the process to justify what you do, what you try to achieve, and if you get the support to go to the next gate. And we have in one unique team, sales, product management, IT, technical support, and customers. We move back customers and partners at the day one of the innovation process. Every time we have a Lean Canvas and we try to go for something, we ask the customers, some of them, not all of them, where we trust them, we make them part of the ideation process. Concept number two, makes sense. You have the Lean Canvas, you know the problem, you know what you want to fix, you know the customers. You need to try, you need to prototype. We use MVP mechanism. I think you know Lean Startup, you know Eric Ries. Again, we sometimes work with him to learn about minimum viable product. I love MVPs. I really like Eric. But the but mean, I think Lean Startup does work very good for startup. You have no product and you do something new. You know the new cash cow in your startup. You have no kind of cost. You have no kind of constraint. You have no kind of critical KPIs to achieve at the end of the quarter. And MVP does work very good to make you agile, to think about MVP 1, MVP 2, MVP 3. When you work in a very big company like Cisco and others, it's not so easy. Because behind you, you have how many services? How many contracts do we already have with customers? If you make a new MVP and the MVP would kill the revenue of your cash cow, how do you do that? How do you guarantee that the new guy, the digital native bastard, will not kill your cash flow, actually? So MVP is very good, but think about how you use it. Don't directly jump in testing. MVP is good about go to the customer, give the prototype to the customer, they will give you feedback. Right, I do it, I love it. But think about what you try to achieve first. What's your North Star? What's your strategy? What do you try to get from the customers before to try to test anything? When you make and something I learned, sometimes painful, but when you make the customers and the partners part of the innovation journey, they give you tons of feedback. They do never stop. And they could try to drive you to some direction where you didn't try to go initially. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying you need to be smart enough to recognize if you really like to go that direction or if they just try to make something very specific for them, where you should just stick to your initial North Star. So make the customers and the partners part of your digital journey. Be aware about what you try to achieve before following any kind of feedback you get from them. Please, 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 kill as much as possible. MVP is not just about having a nice dashboard where you report to VPs and SVPs that everything is successful. Most of the time we use portfolio management to see we have been ID number 1, we move to MVP number 2, MVP number 3, we go scales and we make business revenue. 2 days ago I was in Brussels for an MBA presentation and the lady showed I got 12 IDs and I deployed 10 of them. I said, Could you explain me how you track the fact you move more than 90% of your ID to scale? How did you not kill more of them? Because I think people don't have the boldness, the leadership to kill when it's needed to kill. They just say, it's my ID, it's ego. It's my ID, I know what to do, I want to be recognized. And then they push and they push and they push. It's not MVP anymore. They just try to achieve something, but they don't get very specific KPIs and achievement at the end. Last but not least, product portfolio management. I like to make product management and sales guys part of the journey phase 1, because they will show you if your MVPs should be embedded in an existing contract or not. If you try to be proactive and at the same time you work on the margin of another department, you don't know it. You need sales guys to tell you if they have the capacity and the willingness to sell and to put on the market what you are designing. Make sense? I don't like to say MVP is a best practice. I don't like to say that lean startup should be used every day, every time. It's more a culture. I tried 2 years ago to give the lean startup book and methodology to all of us. I just failed. Don't do that again. It's a culture. It's a way of inviting the guys, being smart enough to think cross steps and not going to management to say, give me $1 million and I will try something. MVPs should be used to be agile and to give the capacity to the guy to think step by step, to go very quick to customers, to collect the feedback, to test something. And if they do achieve specific KPIs, they go back to SVPs and they say, I have something new, something I need your support. I need some time to deploy. I need some time to accelerate. I need $1 million, I need $2 million, whatever you ask. It's a culture. It's not a best practice. MVP does not work everywhere. I like to say to the guys, sometimes you have to work like a submarine. Don't try to go to SVPs and to say, I have a freaking new ID. Would you be my sponsor? Sponsor for what? For a slide deck? Go like a submarine. Make your MVP 1, MVP 2, MVP 3 by yourself. Achieve something. And when you achieve it, you go back to management and you can show what you achieved. It's not just about, I have an ID. No, you say, I have results. And if you give me your support, I will multiply by 100. You do something, you achieve like $1 million of revenue. If you help me, I will achieve 100 million. It's a different story. MVPs should be used to show results, to get support for the next step. MVP should not be used, hey, my dear SVP, give me $1 million and I will try to be innovative. I like MVP as well because if you don't execute, you are not doing innovation. Many guys have very good slide deck, very good concept, but at the end of the day, they don't execute. Innovation without execution is just a hobby. Just a hobby. Learning number 3. You have your concept, you have a problem, your MVP 4, 5, 6, whatever. You like to go scaling, you like to go faster, you like to go AGA. If you try to do that yourself, you will just fail. A digital hero by itself is not enough. You need a team. And that team has to be organized around different kind of skills. DNA, culture, whatever. You need digital native guys, you need digital immigrants, you need white hair, you need young guys, you need sales guys, you need technical guys, you need geek, whatever you need. And all of them have to work together. Yesterday, Beno from Fujitsu spoke about the fact Fujitsu is trying to give some kind of tools for the people working from home. And then I had a very, very nice discussion with him at the end. Yes, working from where you are is perfect. Sometimes when you are trying to scale a new concept, when you try to go digital, you have to work on the same floor. I'm not saying that you need to work on the same floor every time, but don't believe that working behind a screen all the day will make you achieving something. We tried, we failed, believe me. So sometimes when you are in your journey to go GA and to scale a concept, to execute innovation and digital process, you need the people to have the eye contact. You need the people to share the pain together. And then maybe at the end of the process, they go back home and they go for the next phase together and they will come back on the same floor. But you need to be agile. It's not work from home or not. You need to find the right balance between where you are, what kind of people you have in your team. I like to reuse the CEO Microsoft recommendation he published a few weeks ago. And he say, you have to be a learn-it-all. Don't be a know-it-all. In your team, if you just have SMEs, you will fail. It's not so much about the technical skills you have. It's about the attitude. You have to be very curious. You need to learn, and you need to be very humble and neutral about the kind of KPIs you achieve or you not achieve when you try to go somewhere with your digital initiatives. If you have a very high ego, you will fail because you will try to manipulate the metrics. You will believe you go somewhere, but you are not going that direction at all. So you need a team, you need Avengers. And the Avengers should be kind of guys being learn-it-all and not know-it-all. How we do in Cisco, the perfect demonstration of what we do in Cisco. We like to give the capacity to guys to go for rotation, international assignments. So if we have a big concept, having achieved MVP 5, 6, whatever, and Cisco would like to make it bigger to scale for the next phase, we have the capacity to create dedicated team for a specific amount of time. We don't change the guy to a new department. We don't change the reporting line. We don't change the directory. We keep reporting to the same director. But for a very specific amount of time, we move to the dedicated team to scale the project. And the project will contain people coming from sales, coming from IT, coming from product management, whatever we need to go for the next phase. I moved to the US a year ago. I was still reporting to a guy in Brussels. And I was part of the team to scale the practice support I explained to you half an hour ago. So, and we have a platform named TeamSpace where you can easily report to your director, but work with a virtual team. And the virtual team, sometimes you will be on the same floor and sometimes not. It's easy because anytime you need a new guy, a new skills in your team, you just take it. And the guy will be in your team for 6 months. When you do that, when you work MVP, when you work on innovation, how many in your companies knock the door of your office and they say, if you like me to be innovative, give me free time. If you don't give me time, I will do nothing. You know, in Google, they will tell you. You know, in Google, they give them every Friday for free to do what they like. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Friday, Google give Friday, but they will not tell you that on the Sunday, they will have to work to recover the Friday. They work, I mean, if you like to go that direction, fair enough, but not just giving 1 day on 5 days is stupid, because that guys in Google, they work 7 days a week, almost 20 hours a day. So they need to find the right balance. So what I like to do, what we like to do in Cisco, we don't give time to work on ideation. It's like an entrepreneur. You try to fix a problem, you define the lean canvas, you go for MVP 1, you have some kind of achievement. And if you succeed to be recognized to be like the next big cash cow, then we will think about having a dedicated team. But we encourage never giving free time to guys to work on the ideation. I will say, next morning in the shower, think about your ID. But I will not give you free time. Some people like it, some people dislike it, but it is like it is. If Cisco would give 7,000 guys 1 day a week to be innovative, we go bankrupt. And most likely, 99% of the concept we would try to deploy would fail. Step number 4, I don't know if you know the book about Cross the Chasm. When you design MVP, when you think about making a new business revenue, making your digital about something, at a point of time, you need to have cash on the bank account. Otherwise, it's a hobby. It's just something you like to do. So at the point of time, you will need to cross the chasm and you will need to move from geek to regular majority adopter paying you to deploy and to use your new service. If I make the analogy to my project about proactive support, we are in a phase where we like to have the new customer paying us. We did it for free for a year. Now they have to pay it, and we'd like to test if the new contract will work on the market and how the new contract will interact with the existing interactive contract we have from Cisco point of view. Crossing the chasm is critical, and MVP is not enough anymore because the guys being part of the early majority, they are not geeks. They don't like the cool feature and the whatever, and the fact they have to reboot the process and the database every single minute. They will not tell you, I don't care. They will say, if I have to reboot, I will not buy it. So the people you are targeting when you do MVPs are not the same people when you try to cross the chasm. So the product or the process or the service you design to move from hobby to business should be much better, stronger, and well organized in your company as well. How to do that? Since day number one, when we decide to go to execution, we do work with product management. In the SWAT team I explained you, we have product manager, and the product managers owns the concept. The new proactive support mechanism we are designing, the exec sponsor is coming from product management. And they will decide how we sell it, pricing, monetization, how we scale and how we deliver, and which contract should be signed to go that direction. You have to make revenue. I have so good story about people telling me I succeed. And then I ask, okay, what did you achieve? How many revenue? Yeah, it's gone. It's mean nothing. You just did something because it's cool, you are a geek and you are innovative, it's a hobby again. If at a point of time, I'm sorry to be bold about that, if you don't bring back cash on the bank account, it's a hobby and you will not scale. You will feel digital, but you will be digital substitute. You will not target and you will not go to the next business revenue you like to get from the market. What we do, Cisco, I'm not saying it does work, but it's how we do it. We do market trial. When we try to cross the chasm, we design a market trial. So we move from free customers and partners having used our MVPs for like a year or two, and we move from something free to an official Cisco contract. And we put the contract on the market, and we sell it, or we propose it to something like 100 to 1,000 customers worldwide. Worldwide is critical. Cisco is global, so we need to test it in the US, we need to test it in the PJC or in the MER, because maybe it could work in the US, but it will not work in the PJC. So we do market trial for something like 12 months to try if the people will buy the contract and what we achieve from a business point of view and from a return point of view for the customers. I have been proactive. How did I help you? Did I avoid downtime? Did I make you more satisfied and loyal to Cisco because of that? So we go for market trial. The last but not least, it's more related to culture and change management. Give the capacity to your team to fail. It's very important. I don't like to listen to people telling me I design 12 IDs and I push on production 10 of them. It means, first of all, they didn't use MVP something, but it also means that we did not give them the chance to be recognized when they fail. So they get scared. They don't like to fail. The people have to like to fail if you like to be innovative. It's not just failing. It's not just to be lazy and watching something failing. You need to get the learnings. You fail, why? What did you learn? What would you do the next time? When we kicked off some kind of innovation startup in Cisco 3 years ago, we spent more time to recognize, to celebrate people failing compared to people having designed the next MVP 5. From a financial point of view, from an event point of view, from a bonus point of view, we spent more time to recognize the people who failed. You need leadership to do so. It's not just you. At a point of time, you need leadership to be behind you, to have your back, and to say, yes, failing is something I like to recognize. I will promote it. And if I go that direction, the people will like to be innovative, and they will take the risk to think about the next step. You also need the leadership to be capable to kill concept. To kill concept for the good reason. If you are a very big company, like Cisco, you will recognize what I say. You don't kill because of political war. You don't kill the concept because the next department will not like you. You kill because the customers don't use it. You kill because you don't achieve the KPIs you wanted to achieve. It does require very, very strong leadership. So innovation is bottom to top, top to bottom. You need all the chain. About the KPIs, all the KPIs you will use by being innovative, they have to be dynamic. Day one, when you design MVP 1, you have a KPIs. Most likely, after a year, the KPI you use to track your ID should be different. Step number 1, I have a concept. We like it, we dislike it. It's just an emotion. It's just subjective. And if somebody like it, then you think about going for the next step. Most likely, at the end of the process, if you tell me after 12 months, my customers like it, I will say, yeah, it's a hobby. You did not achieve anything. How many cash on the bank account? So all during the journey, the KPIs will change. You will move from highly subjective to very business-oriented. And it's the reason why we use product management in the team when we do innovation. They help us to guide from geek mentality to business revenue. The last but not least, I told you we do need to have our digital heroes. You can skip the digital aspect of it. We need heroes. That doesn't change. We need leadership. We need people being very strong, very positive, having a lot of courage to stand up during the storms. And when you go for a real digital transformation, not just digital substitution, you will have to stand up almost every day. And you will have to be very bold to push your ID to the next steps, to explain what you achieved and what kind of cash you bring back on the bank account. You have to be very humble because you will fail. If you don't fail, you are not innovative. You don't learn and you didn't go extra mile if you don't fail during the journey. Last but not least, it's not about you, it's about your team, about the Avengers. Bring them back to the top. Give them the credits of what you do with them. Help them to grow, give them access to new trainings, give them access to rotation, give them access visibility to any kind of VPs and VPs in your organization. If you show them you like to use your innovation to move to the next step and you give them the opportunity to grow, they will follow you. I would say, just to finish the presentation, may the digital force be with you. And I will come back to the beginning of the presentation. I'm sorry, I think I lied to you. I said I work in Cisco and I do digital transformation. I moved to California just to surf. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.